Sociology. Okay. Paper 1, 2018. Source A.
A famous study by Elton Mayo was conducted in the USA in the 1920s. The study was done in the Hawthorne factory. Mayo was asked to observe a group of workers and conduct a series of experiments. This was to allow the owners of the factory to create the best possible working conditions for them to get the most amount of work completed by their employees.
So the most amount of work completed by the employees, that is productivity, to get the point. So saying, conduct experiments, find the possible working condition that will allow, that would make workers to be more productive. That is about the research. Do you get that?
Yeah.
So to do this, Mayo experimented with the levels of eating, the levels of lighting, the length of rest breaks.
Mayo discovered that no matter how the working conditions changed, the amount of work completed always increased. The possible explanations for this were...
Hold on. You see, no matter what it did, the level of output is increasing. So he's surprised. What might have caused this? So then what is the point coming here? Because the output is always increasing. So what could have caused that, number one?
The working conditions make little difference to the way people work.
So the working condition does not affect or does not even impact on productivity. Two,
Mayo's presence changed the behavior of the workers.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Do you get the point? All right. So from the evidence, they said from the evidence in source A, identify the two research methods being used. The research method used here, one is, Mayo is there, participant observation. And what else again?
Field experiment.
Field experiment, because it happens here in the job.
In the job, yeah, in the field of work.
Yeah, that's why I call it field experiment. I think it's clear.
B, identify two problems researchers might have when interviewing people about their job. Interviewer might be biased.
Mayo might be biased, number one. And two, I talked about confidentiality that is involved. Because in the course of doing this research, workers might feel like whatever they say
will be maintained,
should be kept secretly, privacy. So confidentiality and privacy might be infringed by Mayo in the course of giving his reports.
Yeah.
Did you get the point?
Yes.
So these are the problems about the research.
C, using information from source A, describe two factors affecting the validity of the research.
So we go back to the validity. Validity means how valid it is. So how useful it is. Can we continue to repeat it? Is it going to last longer? But here, based on what we have, there's Hawthorne effect here. Because Mayo even said that maybe my presence has changed the behavior of the workers. So that means the workers might not be working, they might not be behaving naturally, but because they understand that there's someone
who's ahead of them,
working, checking on them, observing them, that might have changed their behavior, and that would reduce the validity of the research. Number one, that's Hawthorne effect. And two, the research took place in 1920. 1920 is a long time ago. So it's ages. So it might not be effective these days. It's outdated, yes. I think it's clear. Go to D.
Describe two strengths of using telephone questionnaires in psychological research.
When you use cell phone questionnaires, it means you're having a phone conversation. It is time, it doesn't consume time. Unlike when you have to interview. Number one. Two, it allows you to, it's cheap. So number two, it allows you to even give answers to questions that are being asked by the participants.
More persuasive.
And that makes it more valid. Because the question or the participant will be asking you questions if he or she doesn't understand.
E, describe two strengths and two limitations of structured interviews.
Structured. Structured interview. We call it structured interview because it is standardized. It allows you to come up with questions that you'll be able to use to collate data. That is what structured interview is. So the strength of structured interviews are one, researchers can explain the questions if the participant doesn't understand. Because it's structured. So it allows you to give a yes or no It allows you to ask questions. Do you understand? It is standardized. So it allows the researcher to give response if the participant doesn't understand. Number one. Two, it's standardized. So because it's standardized, you can use it for other participants too. Do you get the point?
Yes.
It is standardized. That means it is structured. It is there. So if I'm using it for you, I can use it for him. I can use it for her.
Yeah.
So that means it is repeated.
Yeah.
Is it clear? Now the problems using structured interview. Yeah, I said it might involve different interviews. Yes, the questions are standardized, but if you are giving it to different interviewers or different researchers, they might have their own approach. So they might use different approach for the same question, which might make it to be less valid.
Okay.
Do you get the point?
Yeah.
It might take more time.
Mm.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
It might take more time, which leads to more expenses incurred. Is it clear?
Explain why findings from participant observation may be valid.
What are participant observation? When the researcher is there as covert or overt, but is within the environment. So here I said participant observation may be valid based on the following reasons. Number one, if it is done covertly, it brings more validity and takes away open effects. So if participant observation is done covertly, what happens there? It means that the participants would not know, would not understand, would not notice the presence of the researcher. So that means the participants will behave naturally.
Yeah.
So that takes away open effect. That makes it valid. Number two, it allows complete understanding of the researcher as researchers see things from the point of view of the participants. So you are researching based on their own point of view. That's why we call it participant observation. Not on your own point of view now. You are checking on them, giving out reports based on what they do, not what you think or what knowledge you have.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yes.
That's why we call it participant observation. So three, I say it allows researchers to see things with their own eyes because you are there. It's not things that you hear that, oh, students of grade 10, this is what they do. No, now you are there. You see it.
What they do.
What they are doing instead of hearing it. So this brings about validity too.
Yeah. G, to what extent the functionalist view of society is correct?
For functionalists, we say functionalist talks about system. Without system, without the society functioning, the society will be in chaos. This is about functionalist. So yeah, it's a functionalist through organic analogy, so that it makes sense to analyze the society as a system. Looking a bit of it, looking at it at showing each individual contribution to the society or to the system as a whole. So that's about functionalist. The question says, to what extent is the functionalist view of society correct? So I told you, I said functionalists, they believe that the society will be in anarchy if things are not in line, if people are not functioning, if the family is not functioning, if the schools are not functioning. So things will be in chaos. So that means the functionalists, they support the idea that the society should be run as a system. Then checking each bit of that system, how it contributes positively to the society.
Yeah.
Do you get the point?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the first one. The second, I wrote, functionalists show that we should study the society scientifically and at a macro level. So we should study the society using different data, quantitative data, but individuals within the society at macro. That means you check it a bit by bit. Do you get it? Scientific approach means you study, you check, you use your theories based on what you see to analyze.
Yeah.
The third one, okay, the family exists to show consensus in the society. So another thing about functionalists is about the family. They believe the family is the first stage that puts individuals into the right situation. So that means the family is existing because of the society, because people in the family, within the family, makes up the society. The society is where we belong. But in that society, we have the family. So family exists in the society because the functionalists believe that without this family, we won't have a society. Do you get the point?
Yeah.
And the last one, functionality shows that social institutions generally perform positive functions, such as social integration and social regulation. What are the social institutions? The workplace is social institution. It integrates people. They integrate you into the working environment. The police, they make social regulations. They make laws. They make rules and regulations.
Yeah.
So that means social institutions are part of the society. And who talks about social institutions? The functionalists. They said if the social institutions, like the school also, if they are working perfectly, if they are functioning, the society will be at peace.
Yeah.
So these are all about functionalist ideology. Claire?
We go for 2.
Yes, question 2.
Some researchers have claimed that traditional working class identity has declined because of the decrease in manual work. Other researchers have claimed there's now a new working class who have a clear society identity. A, what is meant by term social identity?
Social identity is your perception about who you are and the perception of how people call you.
Okay.
A bit of how people see you. Do you get the point?
Yeah.
So I wrote here, say it is an individual perception of himself or herself and part of the view of how others sees them. Is it clear?
Yeah. B, describe 2 processes through which children learn social expectations.
Or social expectation, we're talking about what is being expected of you in the society. One, children can learn that through peer group pressure. But peer pressure could be positive and could be negative. For peer pressure to be positive, it means we praise you. We praise you, we applaud you for doing something that we are expecting from you. Then it could be negative if we bullied you. That's the peer group. I think it's clear.
Right.
And the second one is canalization. When you're talking about canalization, you make girls understand the roles of girls. You make them to feel that they are girls. So they use pink, you buy them pink, wears, things that are feminine to make them understand that, oh, you're a girl. Of the boys, you buy them toys that they can play with, you let them play football. Integrating them into that gender role. So that's social expectation.
Okay. C, explain how
conformity
is rewarded to the workplace, in the workplace.
What is conformity? Conformity means doing what is expected of you. Do you get it? So how is it rewarded at workplace? I wrote the first one. I said, conformity can be rewarded at workplace through the following ways. Number one, it will be rewarded through perks, such as the use of company's car. So if you are doing things right at workplace, what is being expected of you, you get it done. The company might give you the company might allows you to have some benefits, like the use of cars, the company car, like subsidy for lunch, like subsidy for housing.
Yeah.
Conformity can bring that. That's a reward for conforming. 2, I wrote conforming to certain work ethics might lead to increase in wages or salary. The company might increase your wages or salary because you conform. Yeah. Another one is conformity can also lead to promotion. They can promote you because you are doing what is expected of you. And they might do this to motivate others to conform to.
Yeah.
We go to D.
Explain why individuals from different social classes may not experience the same socialization.
Socialization means you are integrating people to the way and norms of the values of the society. That's socialization. It can be done primarily, which is the family. It can be done secondarily through the school, secondly through the workplace. Now, how is it possible that people from different social class would have different or would not have the same experience in social? They would not have the same socialization, but they are individuals. They are human. They are going to the same school, but why are they not having the same socialization? Education can cause it, because we have the private education and we have the state education, which is a public education. Yes or no? Yeah. So yes, they might use the same curriculum, but they are hidden curriculums. They are hidden curriculum too. Yes or no? Yeah. So the hidden curriculum of the private school will be different from the hidden curriculum of the secondary school, of the public school. Yeah. So this will make the children of the upper class to have different socialization to those of the students of the working class. Do you get it?
Yeah.
2, that's about education. Then I wrote about individuals with different social class might have been socialized in different primary socialization, such as the family. The upbringing, your own upbringing, because you are from a rich family, might be different from my own upbringing because I'm from a poor family. So that means we are going to have different family socialization.
Yeah.
Your ways of spending will be different from my ways of spending. Deprivation might be for me, you might not have any deprivation.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Yes,
That's
yes.
the second one. Yes, I think, yeah, 2 points, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay, yes, that was about that.
We go for A.
Yes,
To
please.
what extent is social class the most important factor in creating social identity?
Social class is even an identity. That's the point.
Mm.
In as much as we say you belong to the upper class, that means we are identifying you as being rich. That is an identity. Do you get the point? So I wrote social class can affect certain aspects of identity, such as gender. That's the first one. So as a girl from the upper class, you won't be identified the same way as a girl from the lower class. The way they see you will be different. Though you both are girls, but your outlook will say who you are. Do you understand? That's number one. So social class could lead to talking about different gender identity. Number two, there's difference between the upper class, working class, and middle class, respectively, which means they have different identity. That is what I said earlier. I said having different social class is also an identity, because we're going to identify you based on the class you have. So that's an identity.
Yeah.
Three, social class may affect language. The language is also a form of identity. How? Some group of people, some classes might have their accents, might have their ways of talking, might have their own slang, because they belong to a certain group. They belong to certain cadre. But you won't be able to understand what they say because you don't belong to that group. So they identify you because you are able to carry along, or you are able to, speak the same accent they speak. Is that not an identity?
That is.
And the last one, different social class might identify themselves as owners of the society. The upper class, because they have so much money, they can spend. So if you are unable to spend like they spend, they identify you as not part of them. You don't belong to them.
Yeah.
So you have a separate identity.
You have a separate identity.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We did a very good job.
Yes, sure.
That's it for today.
Done.